continuing on in our Big Book Summer Boot Camp, and we are still on Bill's story, finishing it up today on chapter 1, page 11. We're at the bottom of the page. So we ended with, never mind the musty past. Here sat a miracle directly across the kitchen table. He shouted great tidings. I saw that my friend was much more than inwardly reorganized. He was on a different footing. His roots grasped a new soil. Despite the living example of my friend, there remained in me the vestiges of my old prejudice. The word God still aroused a certain antipathy. When the thought was expressed that there might be a God personal to me, this feeling was intensified. I didn't like the idea. I could go for such conceptions as creative intelligence, universal mind, spirit of nature, but I resisted the thought of a czar of the heavens, however loving his sway may be. I have since talked with scores of men who felt the same way. My friend suggested what then seemed a novel idea. He said, "Why don't you choose your own conception of God?" That statement hit me hard. It melted the icy intellectual mountain in whose shadow I had lived and shivered many years. I stood in the sunlight at last. It was only a matter of being willing to believe in a power greater than myself. Nothing more was required of me to make my beginning. I saw that growth could start from that point. Upon a foundation of complete willingness, I might build what I saw in my friend. Would I have it? Of course I would. Thus, I was convinced that God is concerned with us humans when we want Him enough. At long last, I saw, I felt, I believed. Scales of pride and prejudice fell from my eyes. A new world came into view. The real significance of my experience at the cathedral burst upon me. For a brief moment, I had needed and wanted God. There had been a humble willingness to have Him with me, and He came. But soon the sense of His presence had become blotted out by worldly clamors, mostly those within myself. And so it had been ever since. How blind I had been. Who else came into Alcoholics Anonymous with a prejudice towards God? Yup, hi, here I am. I was like, nope, no way, no how, not gonna happen, right? And of course, last time I talked about the training wheel words for God, I have less marbles in my mouth and I can say it without being tongue-tied today. And those training wheel words are great when you're making that beginning. And the best statement here on this page that Ebby said to Bill was that, why don't you choose your own conception of God? So it's your own idea. It's your own adventure. It's your choose your own adventure God. It's not a God that's unique to me. I don't have my own God. You don't have your own God. But I get to have my own individual conception. I get to have my own individual relationship with Him. So for me, how I like to picture that, because if you haven't been here before, I like to draw pictures with words. Somebody said that's called a metaphor. I don't know. But basically for me, think of it as a big power cord, right? We have a big power cord, power bar, and we got to plug into it. I like pink. I like sparkles. So the cord that I plug in with, mine is going to be pink and sparkly. Irene, she might like a black cord. She's going to plug into the power with a black cord. Kim S., hers is going to be sparkly for sure. I have a feeling that Kim S. wants a sparkly cord too, so she's going to have a sparkly cord. But you get to choose whatever your power cord looks like. But at the end of the day, we're all plugging into the same power grid. You can call your cord whatever you want. It can be whatever color you want it to be. but we're all plugging into the same power. But we get to have a different experience. My cord is really long because I am like wild and crazy. Other people, they need a really short cord. They need to be really close to that connection. You know me, I'm all over the place. I'm hardwired. Some people, they have a wireless connection to God. Whatever it is, you just need to find some way to plug into that power. Call it whatever you want. I personally like Czar of the Heavens. That's a good one. I know a lady that lives close to me, and she calls God Big Boy, B-O-I, right? Like a rapper. She's like, Big Boy, take it away. Joyce, she's crazy. She's got wild red hair, right? So it's a choose your own adventure type of thing. But we have to make some sort of beginning, some willingness to believe in something. You're going to hear about this more when we get into step 2 and 3. But for me, my beginning was the Oprah Winfrey Law of Attraction. I was going to use that universal power that Oprah Winfrey talked about. The Secret was really big when I came into AA. And so I was like, that's my higher power. I'm going to use the universe. I'm not doing God. No way. So I was going to use Oprah Winfrey's Law of Attraction. I'm going to put good vibes out, and good vibes are going to come back to me. Weirdly enough, after doing that and being in AA for a while, all of a sudden I called it a higher power. I stopped being resistant. And then gradually, I started calling it HP. And me and HP were buddies, and HP had my back, right? And then all of a sudden, God showed up. I stopped calling it HP, and I was calling it God. But all I needed was to make a beginning. So whatever beginning you need to make is all you need to start here. And that willingness, right? The willingness to just try. Because you never know what's going to happen when you open up door number 1. I'm on like door number 152 because behind each door kept getting amazing. It's not like that show with, what's that guy, that little guy. And they find the zonks. They open the door and there's a zonk. It's not that show. Every door I've ever opened has had something amazing behind it. Sometimes it's a lesson, and I'm able to close the door and move on down the hall and open the next door. But I still get to explore it, even if it's just a lesson behind the door. It still gives me something good. And I love that statement. I was convinced that God is concerned with us humans when we want Him enough. Because a lot of times God showed up for me. I was a little bit interested, but I didn't want Him that bad. You know, I can remember I called them fingerprints in my life, puzzle pieces of God, where I can look back now and I see where God tried to show up for me, but I blotted it out with my worldly clamors. I blotted it out with my thoughts in my head. I went back to my fancy, shiny life, chasing, money, fame, prestige. I blotted it out, but He was there. He was like, hey, idiot, I'm over here. Are you done yet? Oh, no, she's not done yet. I'll just wait some more. I'll go help the guy over there that really wants my help, right? So I can look back and see those instances, those puzzle pieces where He tried to step into my life, but I wasn't ready. And I blotted it out. Anybody got anything on this page? Raise your little yellow hands. Diane?
Okay, fantastic. Yes, I can think of a time when back in it was 93, so I would have been just honestly 33, and I got a DWI coming home from a wedding, and I was forced to go to the local alcohol drug program, and I was on 6 months probation. Well, I went to New York during this time. July 4th I love Coney Island. It's crazy and photography and just fun. But the bottom line is I wound up in this guy's apartment in the projects there, which is kind of, so I woke up, the guy was great, didn't even bother me, it was amazing, unlike the psychiatrist. It's kind of sad. But the point is, I told my story when I got back to the alcohol drug service. They said, oh no, you need more help. And they wanted to put me in a rehab, which is a long-term rehab, like 6 months to a year even. I did whatever I could. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell anyone. I have a way of not telling people anything. So I got out of it because my 6 months probation had ended. Now that I interned there many years later, in 2011, in fact. But I'll tell you what, that would have put my life in a whole different pathway if I had just gone. God was there. God made, I told the story, and I really do feel like that was an opportunity that I blew, because instead I'd worked this print shop for a few months thinking I was going to go back on the road, and that didn't work out. So I wound up instead spending, this is embarrassing, 14 years in a print shop. Oh my God, it's like so embarrassing. I think I've said it before, I would have rather been like a woman of the night just to have great stories instead of like stuffed envelopes or whatever the heck I did there. It's embarrassing to me, very embarrassing, but I'm telling you. And I had that God moment when I could have just said, thank you for the opportunity to go into a rehab. I wasn't doing anything. I was living with my parents. I had this little job. I had no children. In other words, there's nothing that I was walking away from except walking to something that could have helped me. And I said, no. And part of the embarrassment, I'll tell my parents, because they know already. Of course they knew. They're not dumb. So anyway, that was a God opportunity, and I could not see, as you say, God's hand there, or the higher power. I had a beautiful opportunity, and I blew it. So yeah, I couldn't see it yet. And, there you have it.
Absolutely. Marianne.
Hi, friends. I am an alcoholic from Toronto. My name's Marianne. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be sober today. I was pretty desperate when I got to you, and the whole God concept was very overwhelming. And I didn't know what I was going to do until somebody said, okay, try a group of drunks with a solution that's in front of you right here. And I was pretty desperate, so I said, okay, I'm going to grab onto that. And then I started to follow the instructions. And as you see, it works. It really does, because I have the gifts of sobriety today that I would never have had I not done this program. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing in my joy and my sobriety today.
Thank you. I love you, Marianne. Oh, I'm so happy you're with your grandbaby. All right. At the hospital, I was separated from alcohol from the last time. Treatment seemed wise, for I showed signs of delirium tremens. So here he's gone to the hospital for a detox for the third time. So if we look at the timeline here and we think about things and we compare it to what people tell us now and we hear in meetings, if we think about the timeline, Abby came to see Bill and Bill was drunk. Abby told Bill about this amazing program of recovery while Bill was drinking at the kitchen table. Then he made a decision to give it a try because he had hope from seeing the glimmer in Abby, and he had that belief that it could happen for him too. So now he goes to treatment. So he's already been given the solution before he goes to treatment. And this is what happens next. There, I humbly offered myself to God, as I then understood him, to do with me as he would. I placed myself unreservedly under his care and direction. I admitted for the first time that of myself I was nothing, and without him I was lost. I ruthlessly faced my sins and became willing to have my newfound friend take them away, root and branch. I have not had a drink since. I can share that experience with Bill. I, like Bill, made a decision in step 3 to put myself under God's care and ask him for direction in my life. I don't turn it over. I don't surrender. I don't let it go. I decided to put myself under the care of God. I made a choice. And the catch was that I have to follow a simple program of recovery, spiritual solution, which we're going to get to. And since I've made that decision, I have not drank since. that thought's being removed from me. I don't pray for it to be removed. I don't sit and daily turn it over. I made a decision. I allowed God to be my GPS. God's my GPS. And I've stayed sober. Keep going in a sec. We're breaking it down. Sue.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Suzanne, alcoholic. Yes, I too, I didn't go to treatment. I came in, I came in a number of years ago, back in 1984. And in the beginning, I relied on the group, and I believe that at that time, I turned my life and my will over to the group. However, as time went on, I began to realize that in step 3, that I was ready to turn it over to God. And today, I use the 3rd step prayer in the morning, and I also use that 7th step prayer. And I have some other prayers too that I use throughout the day. And I ask God every day for direction. I was one of the fortunate ones. I have, after a few weeks in this program, taking suggestions, that obsession to drink had left me. And I continued to come to meetings, and I took directions. And although I think I had already told you, had a sponsor at that time who wanted me to just stay on step 1, 2, and 3. So I really didn't get to the 4th step until I had about 14 months in the program. But anyway, every day I turn my will and my life over to the care of God, and I ask for God's care and direction. And I also ask God, who can I help today? Put that person in my life that you want me to help today. And I usually get a call. I'm on the phone with a couple people every day, and I do have a couple of sponsees. And I'm really grateful. Every day I get up and I have something to be grateful for. And, life is on life's terms, I have ups and downs like other people that I have to get through, on a daily basis. And, but I have a lot of gratitude. And if I hadn't come into AA, I know for myself, definitely I would have been dead. And I am just so grateful that I made it into these rooms in God's time, and that I was able to learn about myself in step 4, and the reasons why I drank. And, the truth of the matter is that I drank because I couldn't deal with life on life's terms, okay? So, and it had nothing to do with anybody else. And of course, I thought it did when I first came in. I thought that other people were the reason, why I drank. My husband, my kids, anybody that I could blame, and but the problem was within me, and it takes time, though. It takes time, I believe, for you to see that. And but I'm just so grateful to be here today, and I love Bill's story, and I love this big book. The solution really is here in the big book. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Sue. Yeah, when I first got to AA, and then when I first couple of years going through the steps, what I was told was turn your will over, let it go, give it to God. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't understand what that meant. But when it was told to me, that step 3 is you make a decision, I was like, oh, I can understand that. I'm making a decision to put myself under the care of God. I'm letting Him take away my sins. I'm asking Him for forgiveness. And then I'm using Him as my GPS to give me direction in life. I'm constantly downloading the upgrade because, sometimes we need a little tweak here because there's bugs in the system. So I'm constantly re-downloading my God GPS because sometimes I need a little update, right? I get a little off course, and that's what this program gives me. It gives me that direction. And we said last time, and we're going to say it a million more times, it tells us over and over to ask God for strength and direction. He's my GPS. The feeling here, if something isn't right, you have that gut feeling or you have that wrench in your chest where it's not right. That's God. But when it's up here and the mind's going, that's me. I need to stay out of here. I need to listen to here. Della!
Good morning, ladies. Della, recovering alcoholic. Yeah, my GPS is always going, recalculating. Yeah, U-turn.
Turn left.
Right? I just underlined and highlighted a new section in this little story. I placed myself unreservedly under His care and direction. And I went, it kind of sounds like page 59 when it says, we asked His protection and care with complete abandon. Like, I was just like, yeah, so there's my moment. And then root and branch, all of it. We can't just leave little things that are going to grow a new seedling. We have to take it all, root and branch. And so I've highlighted and underlined that part too. So thanks, Kim.
Thanks. Yeah, and you just think about the underlying about half measures avail us nothing. If you only half-ass it, you're not going to get anything out of it. You have to unreservedly make the decision. I decided. There's a really weird rattle. I decided to do this, right? And that's like people are like, oh, well, I've tried AA before. It's like, did you make a decision and actually try doing all the work? Yeah, I made a decision and I tried AA and I left at the 4th step. Call me when you've tried all 12 steps and you give up. If you've only done 4 steps of 12, you're not even a third of the way done and you haven't actually tried AA, right? But you hear it all the time. Yeah, I tried AA. I went to 90 meetings in 90 days. AA doesn't work. I'm like, you didn't try shit. You went to meetings. Try doing the work and then tell me it doesn't work. But that's what happens. And that's when people go, yeah, AA doesn't work. I tried it. You didn't try. And I'm sorry if that offends anybody here, but that's the truth. The truth is, if you really tried and you did this work, your life would be fucking amazing. But if you just come to a couple meetings, that's just going to some meetings. It's meeting new people. Irene, go ahead.
Hi, honey. I'm Irene. I'm an alcoholic. Second time at this meeting. I was encouraged by my sponsor to come, and I am 38 days sober today. And, it's interesting, this idea of decision. I made a decision. I made decisions before, and I've tried to stop drinking, but I didn't do it in the program. And, my reality is there was too much pride keeping me from being able to stop. I needed you. I needed the we, the us, the group. I was just thinking today, I have feelings, I have thoughts, and I heard that, a feeling shared is a feeling half, or a problem shared is a problem half. I would share now, I didn't get that before. I didn't get that feeling like that was going to help anything, But now I think you know what? If I hold it in, even if it's something I know I'm going to deal right with, even if I know I still have the right mindset, I'm going to put it in God's hands and all this and that. I'm just going to talk about it anyway, because I need to be in the center. I need to be in that place where I'm protected, and getting my heart out and talking is what does that for me now. And I wasn't doing that to the degree I needed to. And I just want to use an analogy: make every effort. You know, I am a God believer. I came into this as a believer of God, and there's a scripture that talks about make every effort. And there's an analogy used, like as a athlete, you know, someone that's training for the Olympics. They don't go half into it. They put everything they have to make it to the Olympics. And it's that kind of intensity we need to get sober. That's what it takes. And I don't have that on my own without your help. And an Olympic athlete needs their coaches. They need their teammates. They need their group. And I don't know of any Olympic athlete that ever made it to the Olympics without that coach in there, moving them along, keeping them going, helping them. And that's to me what is the difference here, what is making the difference for me this time. And I plan to stay sober one day at a time. That's why that's in my name. And it's nice to see there's another Irene. There's very few Irenes in my life. But thank you, Kimberly, so much. Kimberly,
Thank
love,
you.
I'm going to be part of this group. So just,
Awesome. Yeah, stick with us and do the work as we go along. Marla.
I was looking at some notes from the last time we went through, and I thought this was interesting. You had at the bottom of the page, you were talking about being hopeless, and then no one introduced me to this book. And the idea that many of us had been in the fellowship, and people they'd go like, turn to page 13, or we'll read this story. And I won't even tell you how many years I was sober until we sat down, and like a year ago, I think now this is our third or fourth time going through it. But it's like I finally have things marked out through the whole 164 pages. And more importantly, instead of being hopeless, I have hope. And where it says here, why couldn't I get it? Why couldn't I stop drinking? And it's like, because you didn't know. You actually just said this. But it's so simple. I have to keep reminding myself. Make it simple for the person you're working with, too. Just start going through the book. So thanks.
Thank you so much. All right, let's see what happens to our friend Bill. He's made a decision. He's turned it over. Let's see what happens. My schoolmate visited me, and I fully acquainted him with my problems and deficiencies. We made a list of people I had hurt or toward whom I felt resentful. I expressed my entire willingness to approach these individuals, admitting my wrong. Never was I to be critical of them. I was to write all such matters to the utmost of my ability. I was to test my thinking by the new God consciousness within. Common sense would thus become uncommon sense. I was to sit quietly when in doubt, asking only for strength and direction to meet my problems as He would have me. Never was I to pray for myself, except as my requests bore on my usefulness to others. Then only might I expect to receive, but that would be in great measure. So here you go. Some of this sounds really familiar because you can hear the beginnings of our steps. Ebby came back and he told Ebby all of his deficiencies. That sounds a lot like a step 5. You know, he made a list of people who he's harmed and who he's got resentments. That's our 8 and our 4. And he's made an entire willingness to correct his wrongs. That's our 9. That willingness is so important. And a lot of people go out bidding to do their 9th steps without doing the 8th step first. And we're going to talk about that in detail when we get there. But you need that 8th step. You need the willingness to do it. If you're going into an amends going, oh, I really don't want to do it, don't do it. You're not ready yet. You need to pray your butt off some more until you're willing to do it. Yeah, there's a difference between being uncomfortable because it just sucks and not being ready, right? And we'll get to that when we get there. And my favorite, I've got it highlighted and underlined and starred. I actually have a picture of this in my phone, and this is actually my do not disturb. So if I actually turn my phone off or I'm on a flight, that is what goes out to anyone who calls or texts me. And that is, I was to sit quietly when in doubt, asking only for strength and direction to meet my problems as he would have me. I actually know someone that if you call them, he says, did you pray first before you call me? Because how many people call their sponsor or call their spiritual advisor before praying? Did you pray first? I'm supposed to consult with God first and foremost. So praying for strength and direction to meet my problems as he would have me. So a bunch of you were here before the meeting started, and I was talking about my legal case and how the other party has put their response to our pleading, and it's just laughable, right? So my lawyer says, what are your thoughts? My immediate thoughts is a big LOL. But of course I can't write that back. So I'm pausing. I'm in this page right now. I'm not doing anything, and I'm waiting for the strength and direction for the right words to come to mind, because it's just so ludicrous. I was also talking about the $70 million lotto that's right now in Canada. Our lotto is at $70 million. And of course, I can't pray for that. I can't pray to win the lottery. I joke and I say, oh God, I'd really like to win the lottery so that I can help others and open a treatment center, and I won a free ticket. God's a funny fellow. So we need to remember not to pray for ourselves unless it's for our usefulness to others. I'll tell stories about this when we get to it, but I have two friends that prayed for cars. One wanted to save 3 hours out of her time so that she could actually attend more meetings and help more newcomers. The other just wanted a car. They both got cars. The first one got a very trusty, reliable Nissan Sentra. She drives to meetings all the time. She helps a ton of people. She takes people to detox. She uses that car to help others. The other person just selfishly wanted a car, and it's always in the shop and it's always breaking down. There's a moral to that story. So, only might I expect to receive if I'm using this to help others. I'm dating, and I like to use my dating examples to help others. I'm like, please let this one be a good one so I can show others that we can successfully date in recovery. To be continued. We'll let you know how that one works out. So bottom of 13. My friend promised when these things were done, I would enter upon a new relationship with my Creator, that I would have the elements of a way of living which answered all my problems. You want the answer to all your problems? Finish 12 steps and have a relationship with your Creator. It's right here on the bottom of 13. Acceptance is not the answer to all my problems today. I hate to burst your bubble. We read that whole story, and that man had these spiritual principles in this page employed in his life, and that is why he was able to have acceptance in that situation. You have to read that whole story. You can't just read page 417. You're not allowed from here on in. But you will have the elements of a way of living which answered all my problems. So let's think about if you'd like a cake, right? I really want a cake. My cake is my amazing life, right? But what does God give you? He gives you flour. He gives you eggs. He gives you sugar. He gives you vanilla. He gives you milk. He gives you an oven. He gives you electricity. And he gives you a bowl and a spoon. You have the elements now to make an amazing life. He doesn't just give you an amazing life. That's not what this process is about. We gain the tools and the things necessary to use to build an amazing life. When I was 2 years sober and my life was falling apart, my simple words to the girl that I called were, I need to get the tools in my spiritual toolkit. And I did. And there's lots of them. And I'm consistently sharpening some. Sometimes I don't use others. Sometimes I have to use two tools together to get a job done. But these are the elements in my life that allow me to have this amazing, successful life. I didn't just say, I really want to have a great sober life. No, I wanted the tools to be able to get it and maintain it. Belief in the power of God plus enough willingness, honesty, and humility. Willingness, honesty, and humility. To establish and maintain the new order of things were the essential requirements. So we don't just get it, we got to keep it. We got to maintain this. Drives me nuts, and I was one of those people that did a set of steps every September. Kids went back to school, ladies started meeting again on Thursday night to do another set of steps. Why did I always have to do another set of steps? Because I didn't maintain it in between. Since I started living in the maintenance of this, I have not done a set of steps. I did a set of steps. I went through this book with another person in October 2018. I have been living that set of steps ever since. I have a daily reprieve. And it's contingent upon this work. I help others. I keep my yard clean. I make my amends. I've made all my financial amends. And number one, I keep God close. He's my GPS. And as a result, I don't need to do a set of steps every year because I'm living. This program is meant to be lived and practiced, not done as a checklist every September. Simple, but not easy. A price had to be paid. There's a price for this program. It's on page 14. People are like, oh, it's free. It's free. Yeah, it's freely given. But there's a price. It's a big price. This is like probably the most expensive thing I've ever had. It meant the destruction of self-centeredness. I must turn in all things to the Father of light who presides over us all. I need to get out of my own damn way. I need to not be selfish, and I need to help others in God's name. That's the cost of this new life. On the days where I feel like crap and I don't want to be here, I'm here. On the days that I feel like crap and I don't want to pick up the phone when a sponsee's phoning, I have to pick up the phone. When I go to Greece on July 29th to celebrate my 5th year of sobriety from a Greek island, I will still be doing the big book study. I will still be speaking at roundups. Because why? That's the reason I have that trip. My alcoholism doesn't take a vacation, so my recovery doesn't take a vacation. I'm not unavailable on vacation for 10 days from this program. I am still a sponsor. I am still a big book facilitator. I am still responsible. If I'm on the plane and I see someone suffering, maybe not for COVID, but normally I would sit next to them. I was in the hospital emergency room and I saw someone in police custody. And I walked up to the police officer and I said, hey, can I talk to her for a minute? And he said, you want to talk to her? And I was like, yeah, I do. And I crouched down and I said, hey, my name is Kim and I'm an alcoholic. I've been clean and sober for 5 years. And the police officer got up and he said, would you like my seat? Not everybody's that bold. Not everybody does that. But you can stop when you see someone suffering. You can be available if someone calls you. And I don't get to take a vacation from that. Because otherwise, what will happen? That all-inclusive resort will bite me in the ass. Because there's alcohol everywhere I go. So my sobriety needs to come everywhere with me. I don't get to be self-centered. I don't get to say, I need a break. I can be overwhelmed and I can say, I have too much on my plate right now. Can you help me out? I have a lot going on. And so sometimes I'll call Irene and I'll say, hey, Irene, I'm like swamped with my business. Can you cover the big book study today? I have responsibilities I need to catch to, which is a hell of a lot different than I don't feel like doing it today. I'm overwhelmed. Could you please help? Which is giving her an opportunity to be of service as well and sharing the experience, which we get to do as well. I have girls that I sponsor that are younger than me. And I say, I don't think I'm the right fit for you, but I've got a girl and she's in her early 20s and she's in college and you're in college and you're in your early 20s. Maybe you two should work together. So we're able to share the service. We're able to pass the love. Anybody want to talk on all about that? There was a lot. You're all silent. Did I scare you? If you don't know, page 14 is my favorite page in the entire big book. I've actually done a whole hour talk on this page alone. It's my favorite page in the big book. And I'm going to get to it now since nobody's reading their hands, because this is the best thing in the whole entire planet. These were revolutionary and drastic proposals. But the moment I fully accepted them, the moment I fully accepted these proposals, the effect was electric. Every hair on my body is standing up right now because I know why. There was a sense of victory, followed by such a peace and serenity I had never known. There was utter confidence. You want a big gift? There it is. Who here was broken? Zero self-esteem, zero self-worth. Me too. Me too. I had such low regard for myself and did things as a result. And now I walk into a room with my head held high. I get to lead these studies with confidence because I'm powered by God. I'm not afraid of anything. I've looked my demons in the face and I've forgiven myself for them. And I now use all of those experiences to help other people. So I don't sit here and go, oh, wow, that Jackie, if she ever knew what I did in my past, she really wouldn't like me. I'm like, damn straight, maybe Jackie would like me more because she's done it too, right? And we get that confidence, and it's amazing. I felt lifted up as though the great clean wind of a mountaintop blew through and through. God comes to most men gradually, but his impact on me was sudden and profound. For a moment, I was alarmed. I called my friend the doctor to ask if I were still sane. He listened in wonder as I talked. Finally, he shook his head, saying, something has happened to you. I don't understand, but you had better hang on to it. Anything is better than the way you were. The good doctor now sees many men who have had such experiences. He knows that they are real. While I lay in the hospital, the thought came that there were thousands of hopeless alcoholics who might be glad to have what had been given so freely to me. Perhaps I could help some of them. In turn, they might work with others. My friend had emphasized the absolute necessity of demonstrating these principles in all of my affairs. Particularly was it imperative to work with others as he had worked with me. Faith without works was dead, he said, and how appallingly true for the alcoholic. For if an alcoholic failed to perfect and enlarge his spiritual life through work and self-sacrifice for others, he could not survive the certain trials and low spots again. If he did not work, he would surely drink again, and if he drank, he would surely die. Then faith would be dead indeed. With us, it is just like that. There's a promise on this page. Not a happy promise. It's a really crappy promise. It's hidden after a really great promise. And that is, if you do not do this work and you do not give it away, you will surely drink again. And if you drink, you will die. We promise you, if you don't do this work, you will drink again. I promise you, if you don't do this work, you're going to be miserable. You can sit here and be 10 years sober and be miserable as heck. I've met so many people like that. I was like that for the first 2 years of my sobriety. But what happened was somebody gave this to me. They gave me this gift like it was given to Bill, like Bill gave it to us. And I give it away because I found that secret that I keep to grow. Every time I read this book, I find something new in it. So I read it with anybody who asks. I love reading this book because I learn more about myself every time I read it. Every time I share this with you, I grow. And guess what happens? I survive my certain trials and low spots in life. I look at the pandemic. I look at all the alcoholics I knew before the pandemic and what they were doing in their recovery. Everyone I know who was actively involved in this program, actively living this in their lives, and actively giving it away, got through the pandemic wonderfully. Everyone I know who just attended meetings, who just called their sponsor, who didn't do a lot of this work, didn't have a really great time during the pandemic. I've seen this. For those who don't know, I do stats. It's part of my thing. I'm a statistician, accountant for years and years and years. I was a forensic accountant and I looked for patterns. I look for patterns in AA and I see them all the time. The number one thing I see is in sobriety cakes. You see people taking a 1-year cake. You see lots of people take 1-year cakes. Tons of 1-year cakes. Dime a dozen those 1-year cakes. You see a speckling of 2-year cakes. 2-year cakes, not as many. 3-year cakes, they're a big deal. People make a big deal of those 3-year cakes, but there's not as many of them. You don't see a lot of 4-year cakes. You don't. And then you see the 5-year cakes. And it's like one of two things. It's the person is lit. They're active in recovery. They're in the middle of the bed and life is great. Or they're like, yeah, I got my 3-year cake and then I kind of wandered away and now I'm back and I'm super happy to be here for my 5 years. Yay, I didn't drink. And then you see nothing. Maybe one 6-year cake. You rarely see a 7, an 8, or a 9. Rarely do you see a 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then what do you see? You see one of two things. A 10-year cake where the person says, I was like so involved in AA. I picked up my 5-year chip. I met a girl and I got married. I had an amazing job. I had the car. I had the boat. I had the house. I got so busy with life that I stopped coming to AA. And at around 8 or 9 years, I lost my mind and I'm coming back. Thank God I didn't drink. Or they're saying, I drank at 9 years sober. My name is Joe and I'm coming back. Whatever, right? That's the stats. But once you get past 10 years, those people, they seem to be great. The 20 plus crew, they go strong, right? But it's that weird 1 to 10 years that I've noticed. And where am I? I'm at 5 years. And what am I doing? I'm in the middle of the boat and I'm so active. And I'm also dating. So I know what's the possibility. I could meet someone, I could settle down in this amazing life, and I can forget how I got here. So guess what I do? I pay attention. I'm like, I gotta stay what I'm doing because this is why I got what I got. I can't forget that. Like I said about going on vacation, the reason I get to go to Greece is because of this work. It's because I'm sober. It's because of the gifts on this page. It's because I do the work and I've gotten to grow. All right. Anybody want to talk about those pages? Oh, dang it. We got 1 page left in 7 minutes. We can do it. Anybody want to talk? You guys are so quiet. I'm scaring you. Either that or I'm hitting it out of the park today. I don't know what it is. We like people to share here. Diane, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, you did. Both is correct.
Okay.
You scared me and you hit it out of the park. So, yeah. I never lie to you or the lovely women in this group because lying is ridiculous. It's pointless. So I think I always lied by omission. I just didn't tell anyone the trouble I was in, obviously. That's why I gave the earlier story when I had this opportunity, and I said, I won't tell anyone, and it was a stupid choice. But my point is, yeah, I'm definitely near 5 years. I think I'm like a week before you know I'm not going to Greece, but congratulations, sounds beautiful. And anyway, my point really is, I am of the miserable variety, and I use the excuse, well, I missed all my opportunities, so really what do I know I have? So I feel like, God, I can't really get the career. A little late. I applied a few places and for like substance abuse because I really love talking to people. And I don't know. I think I have a little knack, and maybe you don't think so. But I like that. I'm people oriented. So, and I do have training a little bit. But here's my point. I am miserable, and I know that it's because I can't accept how old I am. It's like, no, why can't I be like when I sub first time, as I mentioned the other day, and one of my thoughts, I loved it, but one of my thoughts, why can't I just be in high school again, like a senior? Of course, it's a ludicrous, just mind going there. And so my thought is, I don't want to be miserable, because one of the things that's keeping me sober is you're right, I'm not getting my 5-year chip. And then I'm thinking, well, at least I'll make it till then. That's not the right thinking pattern. The thinking pattern should be, this is for life. So yeah, I can see that slippery slope you're talking about, and I don't want to be miserable. I have to come to terms that, for whatever reason, this is a path that my life went. Even though it irks me to death, that's not the right attitude, and it's not making me happy. And being miserable is like, it's not fun, okay, for sure. So thank you, and yes, you hit it out of the park.
Diane, that mindset's what's keeping you stuck. You need to change that mindset, and I am on a mission. For those who don't know, Diane has been here 4 times. This is her 4th time going through this with me, and it is my mission in life to give you an experience, and you need to change your mindset. You will be like a high school student once you do this work. Life will be open to you, and you will have every opportunity, no matter how old you are. I never thought I would have the life that I have. I am going to Greece because I said yes and I made this decision and I did this work. I have this life because I did it. You can have this life too. I have bounds of energy. I'm climbing mountains. I used to eat pizza and lay on my couch all day, every day because I didn't think I was worth it. You are not too old. You're too stuck in your head. So you're going to make this decision. You're going to do this work. And if it kills me, you are going to get rocketed into the 4th dimension. Martha.
Yes, girl. You put it on point. It just sounds like you're being real and just, it's straight up. I mean, you're right. I mean, everything you said was true. Usually when I hear it from other people would just say, just don't say it too harsh or not too rude, but it's the facts. I mean, I agree with you. It's it's either you want to do the program or if you want to go and mess up your life and go drink, then that's on you. So currently I'm a week sober. I've been doing this program for almost, I would say, since December. And the first time I've been doing my home group is Club 12 here in Texas, and I got a DWI, and when I first came to go to the Club 12 in person, I would come in, it was like a full house, it was a lot of people, and I would sit in the back, and I'll just be like, okay, whatever, I'm just here for probation, and I never realized now that 5 years later, I'm still in the same position, but now I don't have a car. I went through a lot of shit. Sorry, excuse my language. I went through a lot of things. I've been abused. I've been neglected. I've been in a relationship for almost 5 years, and the guy, he was shot and murdered. And I learned that he manipulated me. He used me those years, and he crashed my first car on my prom night. A lot of these things, and just writing down what made you powerless, all these things that my sponsor told me to do for homework, and my resentments. And one of my most of my resentments came from him, but he's no longer here, so it's kind of it's hard. But then I'm it's like a way of God planning
his way of like just, okay, this is like my plan for you. I mean, I'm just here. All you gotta do is just pray, and like, I'm here for you. And with my God, my understanding is he knows what I'm thinking. He knows that what I'm gonna do next. And before, I would never think of that. I would always pray for myself. I would always, like you said, Kimberly, sorry, like how you were saying, like, just selfish, and that's how I was. And I was like, oh my God, I swear, like, God would just think this is a joke, and I would start to think like there was never a God. And so last night, I told my sponsor, so I got this new job, a serious job at UT Health, so as a custodian, but they offer benefits and everything. And with them, I mean, I drank on the job one time, and I don't know, I guess just because I'm still learning, like, the thought process, like, having to practice that is the hardest. So I just got one drink, and it led me to being late to work, and I got written up for it, and I told my sponsor, and my sponsor was pretty disappointed, and she just told me, okay, Martha, just all you gotta do is just don't drink. I'm gonna send you this link, just watch it. And what I came to learn with, like, having a sponsor with this program, with, like, everything is, I gotta learn how to be disciplined. I gotta learn how to listen to my sponsor and, like, not listen to myself, because it's like, why am I reaching out to my sponsor? Like, why am I reaching out for my sponsor? Like, I need somebody to, like, guide me through this freaking life of, and I'm starting to learn now that I can accept the fact that I'm an alcoholic. It took me a while to, like,
Martha, I gotta cut you off, love, because we're only sharing on what we read, and we've got to get this done. But stick around for after the meeting, and definitely keep coming to this group, because we can help you learn the steps and gain the tools that you need to stay sober. But thank you so much for being here. Tammy.
Hey, Kim, girl. And hey to my homegirl, Catherine H. I love this group. Kim, I'm sorry, I've got a little bit of laryngitis, but last Monday, I probably have a personality like yours. I talk to everybody about anything. And you give me such a zest to talk about where I am and not being afraid to look back to where I've been. Because, Diane F., I'm going to tell you, girl, get out of your head. The shame is keeping you where you are. We have all done stuff we wish we hadn't done. We've said and done. Girl, I've had 3 DUIs. I think I said this before. My daughter's 21st birthday, she had to come and get me out of jail. Literally out of jail. And you know what? Okay, so I didn't go to med school, but I've been to alcoholic school. I know what that looks like. And I can't cut you open and heal you, but I can certainly share my gift. And it is a gift because I'm on this side of the ground talking about it. I can tell you what I've been through. And there are times I love my home group. My girl Catherine H will tell you, I love that group because everybody is so real. And you know what? We have all been through it. We may be different ages, different colors, different ethnic groups, but we have all been through the mud. We got some on us so we can share what it's like to be muddy and what it's like to get clean. So, Diane, I'm going to be like Kim. I'm going to challenge you, girl. Get out your head. Because there are people, until you're fully healed and whole, there are people behind you. There are women waiting for you to come along to get steady in where you are in your walk and what's done so you can help them sisters behind you. And that's going to be my mission. Kim, you have inspired me, girl. Because I would be that, you know what? I keep thinking if somebody had came to talk to me when I was in cuffs, and I've been in cuffs a lot, if somebody like a Kim had come to me, it might not have sobered me up at that moment, but it certainly would have given me something to think about. And I appreciate you, Kim, and I appreciate this group. Y'all just keep it real, 100, as my daughter would say, as the young kids say. Y'all keep it 100. Thanks for letting me share.
Oh, up here they say, it's bussin'. I'm like, am I bussin'? And Summer's like, don't say that, Mom. I'm like, it's bussin'. All right, yeah. Let's all pray for Diane. Like, Diane, we're getting you out of your head. 43 of us are going to start praying for your ass. Okay, we're finishing this page. I apologize for going over. I just really, really want to stay on track and do step 1 next time. So, 15. My wife and I abandon ourselves with enthusiasm to the idea of helping other alcoholics to a solution of their problems. It was fortunate for my old business associates remained skeptical for a year and a half, during which time I found little work. It wasn't fortunate. They didn't trust him. So they just didn't give him a chance because they didn't trust him because he messed up so time. But he can say he was fortunate all he likes. I was not too well at the time and was plagued by waves of self-pity and resentment. This sometimes nearly drove me back to drink, but I soon found that when all other measures failed, work with another alcoholic would save the day. Many times I have gone to my old hospital in despair. Talking to a man there, I would be amazingly lifted up and set on my feet. It is a design for living that really works in rough going. So I always like to talk about my hey, hi, how are yas? If I'm having a bad day and I go to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm like, hey, hi, how are you? And they'll be like, hey, Kim, how are you? I'm like, oh, good, how are you? Oh, good. Nice to see you. Okay, next guy, hey, hi, how are you? And they're like, hey, I'm good, Kim, how are you? I'm like, oh, good, nice to see you, blah, blah. Next guy, hey, hi, how are you? They're like, oh my God, I'm having the worst day. I'm like, my name's Kim. I'm going to sit right here with you, okay? And they'll be like, okay. I go and I find the sick and suffering. I don't want to see those people that are having a great day. That's what I do when I'm having a bad day, right? You can go back to your old treatment center. They love it when alumni comes and helps. You can volunteer on a detox panel. You can go on a corrections panel. Tons of ways to get out of self when you're feeling crappy. I don't go to a meeting when I'm having a bad day because I need a meeting. I'm going there to find someone feeling shittier than me. And I'm going to talk to them and see if I can be helpful to them. Because usually they're struggling with alcoholism and I'm struggling with dating. Let's be honest, right? And so I'm able to get out of self and help the other alcoholic. We commenced to make many fast friends, and a fellowship has grown up amongst us, of which is a wonderful thing to feel a part. The joy of living we really have, even under pressure and difficulty. I have seen hundreds of families set their feet in the path of really go somewhere. Have seen the most impossible domestic situations righted, feuds and bitterness of all sorts wiped out. I have seen men come out of asylums and resume a vital place in the lives of their families and communities. Business and professional men have regained their standing. There is scarcely any form of misery and trouble which has not been overcome amongst us. Highlight that. That's a good one. Scarcely any trouble or misery that hasn't been overcome. We get through everything here. Everything. In one Western city and its environs, there are 1,000 of us and our families. We meet frequently so newcomers may find the fellowship they seek. At these informal gatherings, one may often see from 50 to 200 persons. We are growing in numbers and power. An alcoholic in his cups is an unlovely creature. Our struggles with them are variously strenuous, comic, and tragic. One poor chap committed suicide in my home. He could not or would not see our way of life. There is, however, a vast amount of fun about it all. I suppose some would be shocked at our seeming worldliness and levity. But just underneath there is deadly earnestness. Faith has to work 24 hours a day in and through us or we perish. Most of us feel we need to look no further for utopia. We have it with us right here and now. Each day, my friend's simple talk in our kitchen multiplies itself into a widening circle of peace on earth and goodwill to men. So here you hear the hope that we can build a fellowship up around us, that we can pass this message amongst each other, and that we can watch this grow in others. And I've seen it. I've lived it. And it's amazing. So that's Bill's story. I apologize for going over. We're going to stick around to share. If anybody wants to open up the mics, we're going to open up the mics. And I hope that's given you a little bit of excitement to come back next time when we start step 1. And we're going to be boot camping through the steps this summer. So let's close with the serenity prayer, and then we'll unmute all, and then we can chat. Who makes this all possible? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
Amen.